Ethereum has been killing it, and if it continues this rally, especially if it manages to break a new all-time high, there will be a whole wave of interest coming into the Ethereum-related altcoins and its ecosystem. I'm making this video now so we are prepared if and when Ethereum makes a new all-time high and sets off the cascading effect, so you know exactly what to target. I'll show you the top 10 altcoins that can have outsized returns as a result of the popularity of Ethereum, and I'll also give you some warnings as to which narratives within Ethereum are a little bit too old, legacy, and there's just too much dead weight and nobody really cares about them, that you should not target those. Okay, let's just get right into it. I'm gonna just directly go into it. So, brief warning before we talk about the specific altcoins. Ethereum needs to sustain this rally and actually makes a new all-time high. So far, it's just okay because it has been beaten down for so long. Yes, it feels like this rally is great, but that's because it finally ran, while everything else has been running for a year. And Bitcoin has had 2 all-time high breaks this cycle already. Ethereum is still below the 45K all-time high from last cycle. So that's big caveat number 1. Right now, Ethereum is nearing resistance, where we talked about this yesterday. So this cycle, there has been 3 peaks, March 2024, May 2024, and then around the election time, November 2024. So we really need to see this level being broken right here. There are a lot of resistance at this level. So we need to convincingly close above here. Then we can talk about testing the previous all-time high, 4,600, and potentially getting above there. But percentage-wise, that's actually not as big as the move we have already had over the last month. It's starting to slow down, and we don't want to see it come back down to chop. Okay? And this will lead to a bigger question about altcoin season as well. As you guys know, everyone is seemingly saying this is confirmed alt season. I'm still relatively cautious. I've put this front and center at every live stream that we have been doing. Basically, the Trump rally, right? Bitcoin dominance dropped for 5 weeks, but then by the 6th and 7th week, it was starting to bounce, and that actually led to all the gains being erased. And it stopped precisely at the 50-week simple moving average on Bitcoin dominance. We are at the start of the 5th week, starting from yesterday. So what happens next is very key. Are we going to get Bitcoin dominance just a little bit lower than the 50-week SMA on the weekly? That will be key, first of all, if altcoins can continue to rally this week. And after that, can we get a longer period of consolidation below this range, and then a bearish retest, a rejection from the 50-week SMA, and show us a lower high and lower low structure here, unlike here, where it bounced too sharp and then it erased all the gains. So far, there has been 4 weeks of altcoin season, but 4 weeks is a month, right? 4 weeks is not 6 months. So in order for us to truly confirm this, I would be much happier and much easier feeling if we get 2 more weeks of confirmation, which would be even longer time than we had in the Trump run. And just to note as well, the next FOMC is in 8 days on July 30th. So there's going to be a lot of decisions to be made for the market. If we get a rate cut, if we get any sort of pivot, that's going to really catalyze this to continue going lower. And why is this relevant for Ethereum? That's because, well, Ethereum is the largest altcoin. So the easiest way for Bitcoin dominance to drop like this is for Ethereum to continue going up, not only in USD value, but in Ethereum versus Bitcoin value right here, this ETH BTC chart. So you see, we have had the start of a uptrend, but we need to respect the uptrend. So the next time as Ethereum BTC comes down, it needs to hold higher than this high right here. That will be a consistent uptrend. So then by the time we have this, that hopefully can translate to Bitcoin dominance breaking down and then actually getting rejected and going down lower. That's all warnings that I'll give you guys like upfront. Okay, if this doesn't happen and Bitcoin dominance goes like this and ETH BTC like erases all the gains and comes back down like this, that's not going to look good, right? And then all bets are off the table. All the coins we talk about today will not do well because not only do these coins follow Ethereum, but the rest of the market follow Ethereum as well. So this is really key. You can't just like blindly ape in and not worry about anything anymore. We're not there yet. We're almost there. Just put this in your mind and always watch Ethereum chart, Ethereum versus BTC chart, and Bitcoin dominance very close, right? Watch it especially close for these next 2 weeks. Okay. It wouldn't be too late also, right? If we get some sort of confirmation like this, your altcoins will be up like 10, 20% higher. But if we have a 6-month long altcoin season after that, you're not missing out much. It's much better to actually have the confirmation. Okay, so with that out of the way, first, I want to tell you what I am not buying. So Ethereum has been around for so long, and there have been so many cycles of different narratives on Ethereum. Last cycle in 2021, 2022, layer 2s were all the craze, right? You guys know Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, Starknet, and even before that, there's Polygon. I'm not interested in buying any of these coins. So layer 2s really are not the main trend for Ethereum for this cycle. If you look at institutions, none of the institutions are buying any of the layer 2s. All the layer 2s raise too much money from VCs, and they are all still just vesting. And if you look at all these layer 2 coins charts, they're not doing well, right? Just zoom out, like they all look the same. So it's kind of sad. They are strong technology in some sense, like Arbitrum powers a lot of EVM chains as a SaaS business. So does Optimism. Optimism powers the base layer 2 from Coinbase, but these coins don't really have any good performance because of that. So skip the layer 2s, okay? Even if they pump a bit, I don't think you're going to get better returns on these than just buying Ethereum directly. Next sector that I am not too interested in is the restaking or staking provider narrative. This is all under the umbrella of EigenLayer. So I don't even want to explain like what restaking is anymore. It's just based on staking Ethereum for yield, and then you can use some of that staking power for consensus to power other protocols for their decision making. That's basically it. And there's some extra utility and rewards on top by doing that. It sounds cool, but this narrative just did not pick up at all. And I would skip all of these. To be frank, the EigenLayer ecosystem list on CoinMarketCap is not the most accurate list. Ethena, Pendle do not fit into here. But if you guys are familiar with Lido, for example, the OG staking protocol, right? This has not done anything since it's launched. It's just been forever ranging. EtherFi, I know people were asking about this yesterday. I'm not a big fan of this. They are all just like similar to EigenLayer, just extra providers on top of EigenLayer, pools on top of EigenLayer. You also have Renzo. You have Puffer, Swell. Yeah, just anything liquid staking and restaking, I'm not a big fan. I haven't seen any like retail adoption of this because retail is not going to stake for 3% yield on Ethereum. Why would they? It's an institutional play, but then again, the Wall Street institutions are not doing restaking at all. So I don't think these matter. Skip them, okay? So with that out of the way, there are some players which are interesting and I think will come back, even though they're very old coins, old protocols on Ethereum. They're just not friendly yet in the regulators' eyes, in the Wall Street's eyes, but they're very useful. I'm talking about things like Uniswap, right? The OG swap protocol, the second to ever launch. The first was Bancor. But yeah, this still powers all the liquidity on Ethereum and EVM chains. At some point, Uniswap should be popular. It's just they have this whole thing going on with the regulations still, because the Clarity Act only likes layer 1 blockchain native coins, and even like meme coins are treated better than DeFi exchange coins, especially if the DeFi exchanges want to share some of their revenue. It's very gray area still, even though they're not getting sued by the SEC anymore. Maybe the next wave of regulation will benefit things like Uniswap, things like Curve, which is another leading decentralized exchange. These should do well at some point in this cycle, but I don't think it's immediately right now in this Ethereum wave. Curve is interesting because it powers all the stablecoin trading. They invented the stable swap model, where you can have very low slippage swap between USDT, USDC, all the other stablecoins with very high capital efficiency. All the stablecoin swapping on chain is powered by Curve and their forks. So Uniswap and Curve, they're still very heavily used. It's just it needs some work on the regulation front for DeFi. Similarly for Compound, this is the OG yield protocol, lending and borrowing protocol that hasn't really done anything too special. Again, needs better regulation for DeFi. And then to go along with these is Chainlink. So I don't know why Chainlink is not popular. Chainlink has been around since 2017, but it's still over the last one cycle, it just hasn't done much. It had this like long ass range between $6 to $8, and then since Bitcoin started to break out, Chainlink only did a 2.5x. It underperformed Bitcoin. So in October 2023, Bitcoin was 30K. Now Bitcoin has done 4x. Chainlink has underperformed Bitcoin. I don't know why. I don't think Chainlink is going anywhere, but it's probably because Chainlink is at its core still a token, not a native coin to a blockchain. It is powering its Oracle network, and it's powering every part of DeFi. But similar to Uniswap and Curve, it needs clear regulation. So I would skip these for now, these four, but I do think they will run some point in this cycle. Okay, with that out of the way, what are the most interesting right now? Very simple. You look at what the institutions are interested in as narratives on top of Ethereum. So we covered this yesterday, that all of the current buying power into Ethereum comes from the strategic Ethereum reserve coming from corporate treasuries and BlackRock and the ETFs. So BlackRock iShares have seen nearly as much, 95% as much inflow as Bitcoin's ETF over the last week. It's been pretty crazy. So you got to follow where the money is. No matter if you use Ethereum or not, that doesn't matter. What contributes to the price growth right now is the institutions. So why are BlackRock and JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink, these guys accumulating Ethereum? What is the narrative that they're trying to push? Very simple. It's RWA, tokenization, and stablecoins. So Larry Fink, if you just look up his whole history with talking about crypto, ever since he has been bullish on crypto with this turnaround about 2 years ago after their ETF was filed, he has only talked about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And whenever he talks about Ethereum, it is one narrative. It is tokenization, which is RWA. He wants to bring stocks on chain. He wants to build investment funds on chain, and they have already launched their own Buildo fund on Ethereum. So it's RWA, even though me and you were never going to use these, but they pushed us. So you got to follow RWA, and you got to follow stablecoins. So even Jamie Dimon and the CEO of Citigroup, they are all turning around after the Genius Act got approved, that they are now saying, oh, we're going to consider stablecoins. For whatever reason, for the longest time, Jamie Dimon hated everything to do about crypto. But when the timing is right, they're obviously going to turn completely all around. So these are the two narratives that institutions love for Ethereum. It's not, like AI, gaming, whatever else you have, layer 2s, restaking, all of that has never come out of their mouth. The only two things that they have ever said are tokenization, aka RWA, and stablecoins that are utility for Ethereum. So with that context, let's just go into those. So let's first cover RWAs then. So in the RWA narrative, because we're not thinking about, which RWA protocols am I using, because we're not using any of them, you again have to follow the money. So yesterday I covered this, honestly, the best tracker for all the RWA out there, all the issuers, all the protocols, RWA.xyz. So you just look at the networks and the protocols that issue RWAs today. So by chain, right, Ethereum has the highest TVL amount and the highest number of protocols. Interestingly enough, ZK Sync is up here, although I have never heard of who has issued what on ZK Sync, but you can directly find all of that breakdown here. So securitized, tradable, it looks like $2 billion of RWAs have been issued and minted on ZK Sync, right? We have never heard of this, but maybe that's true, right? So maybe that's worth looking into. But again, if you're looking at different chains to consider as beta plays in RWA, you got to start at Ethereum, maybe ZK Sync, and then Solana, Aptos, Stellar. I wouldn't put it here as much because it's much more closely related to the XRP narrative. So these are some chains. I wouldn't say I'm particularly too interested in these compared to Ethereum itself. Protocols is also interesting. So out of all of these, which have tokens? Well, you have Ondo, and you only have down here Centrifuge. So Ondo, everyone already knows it's over 10 billion market cap. It's not much to say there. I don't know how much more upside you're going to get out of Ondo. Centrifuge is interesting. I believe it is on my list here. Yeah, it is. So this is one of the first coins that appears as a coin that nobody talks about, but does have $400 million of RWA that's already issued on there. So something to look at. So yeah, I would totally dig into this dashboard, look at every single protocol on the RWA issuers list, and find value bets, right? So let me give you the coin list in this sector. So here are some names you probably have heard of. For example, Plume. This is one I don't like as much based on the value locked numbers. So even though their chain is 1.2 billion FDV, when you check on RWA XYZ and you look at the different networks, Plume ranks number 10. It's below Polygon. It's below AVAX. And even though it has 88 different protocols that's deployed on Plume on their chain that does RWA, there's only $150 million there. So there's not that much money there per se, right? Same as Polygon. There are 489 protocols, but many of these don't even have $1 million of RWA issued per protocol. So I wouldn't say this is a interesting RWA play for me, right? So that's why Plume, bad example, I will skip this one. Where I would start are Centrifuge, I covered already. Maple Finance, this one has been doing quite well since April. So they did this whole relaunch, and their token got rebranded to Syrup. This one has been consolidating quite a bit over the last 2 months, trending sideways. So if you're looking at something that has shown strength already, this has been decently good as a value range now because it has held this range for 2 months. But keep in mind, this is already at 520 million market cap. But the FDV is very similar, right? FDV to market cap ratio, quite similar. So the tokenomics are quite good, even though it's pretty high valuation. Then you have things like Clearpool. So Clearpool is quite a bit lower than the Trump rally levels. It got as high as 52 cents. Right now it's only at 16 cents. This one was one of the first to move. And even back in 2023, this caught on the first wave after Bitcoin started to run. And we have covered this in 2024. Now it's again back into a value range that you see it has held this 10 cents range this summer. It has held in March, and in August 2024, it stopped right around 10 cents as a support. So pretty good. I don't know when it's going to have its next leg up, but it's very close to a long-term support at 10 cents. Right now it's at 17. Also, we have covered Chintai CHEX already. This is very similar as well. So from October 2023, caught the first wave of Bitcoin rally, made a couple highs, and it got as high as like 80 cents, I believe 77 cents. Now it's down a lot, like 85% down. So it really needs to hold these levels around 82 cents, which is the lowest we've had in September 2024. So I don't want it to drop below 80 cents. That would be quite bad, to be fair. But it's getting very close to a buy level for me. So I have covered Chintai quite in depth, especially on Twitter. So just browse my Twitter, search for CHEX, and you'll see all my analysis on it before. So just for some context, Chintai is not targeting huge issuers like Ondo. Instead, they're targeting mid-tier funds between, I believe they've said, between 10 million to up to 500 million of a fund size. They're the main SaaS provider for most of these on-chain funds you see today that are in that range. Okay. And then some other interesting, not too commonplace. So I have covered Aptos quite a bit already. Aptos are actually going very deep into RWA. So unlike Sui, which is trying to become the next Solana, it does a lot of high frequency on-chain trading. It does a lot of campaigns similar to Solana. Aptos doesn't do very similar. So Aptos is working on this pilot alongside the state of Wyoming to do their official stablecoin pilot. They are even ranked higher than Solana on that list of pilot networks that the state of Wyoming is considering. And they're bringing WBTC on-chain to Aptos in order to plug into RWA. And when you look on RWA XYZ, I just saw this yesterday when I saw this dashboard. I don't know how Aptos ranks so high in terms of TVL for RWA. So even Solana with all the X stocks, tokenized stocks, it has 530 million of TVL. Aptos already has similar 531 versus 537. So I want to dig into this a little bit more and look at which vaults, which institutions are actually issuing RWAs on top of Aptos. So I'll keep you guys updated on this. For example, you see BlackRock's Buildo fund is actually live on Aptos. And this is what Franklin Templeton's fund is also live on Aptos. So these are things that I didn't know before. It takes a lot of effort to push this through. And one thing I do know is all of the main stablecoins, USDT, USDC, MakerDAO DAI, Ethena, USDE, are natively supported on Aptos. So just some things to consider. Even though you don't trade on Aptos like you trade on Sui, it's not as popular for degens. The two are actually targeting very different narratives now. So the Aptos team really likes to be friendly to the institutions. Okay, and then some newer coins that are just starting to pop off. There is one that just listed this week. It's called the Multibank. I tweeted about their public sale last week. So this Multibank is a giant TradFi broker for derivatives with $35 billion of daily volume. And they are doing a officially confirmed $3 billion luxury real estate RWA deal. Apparently, this is the biggest RWA deal ever on chain, even compared to BlackRock's Buildo fund, because those are targeted at treasury. This is targeted at real estate. You can Google this, right? Largest tokenization deal ever, 3 billion real estate deal. This is done through Multibank Group. And this is basically to tokenize $3 billion of real estate from this leading developer in the UAE called, I believe it's, MAG. So they have commercial real estate such as Ritz-Carlton residences in Dubai, some resorts and reserves. And this, I'm not sure what this Maverick platform is. But all of this is done through Multibank's regulated RWA marketplace. So they're going to the RWA space. And these guys really are TradFi giants. Crypto guys don't know about them, but they have been operating since forever. So I don't know how much they're going to put all of their business on chain to support their token. But just because of the big gap in how much volume they're doing and the kinds of deals they have, I did put a small ticket into their public sale. This was at 350 million FDV. And so far, it's been doing pretty good. And FDV today is at 1.09. I would wait for this initial hype wave to come down a bit before trying to pick this up. If you can get below the launch price, let's say at 800 million, the closer you can get to the pre-sale price at 350, the better, right? So I would wait on this a bit. But these guys are pretty serious. They're tokenizing $3 billion all on their platform. Okay, and then there is the other platform that I've covered about real estate. It's called, let me see if I can find it here. This one. So I covered EstateX just yesterday. So EstateX is the other platform that I see have a practical token that does RWA real estate deals. And they're fully regulated in the US, in the UAE, and EU, and they have offered quite a few large commercial properties. So this is one of the only tokens in the real estate RWA sector. So check out this video for the whole breakdown. Okay, and that's basically it for RWA narrative. It doesn't seem immediately obvious why RWAs will benefit the most with the success of Ethereum. But it's because you and I don't use RWAs on chain, right? We're not tokenizing things, but that's the same reason why we don't trade on Ethereum anymore, right? The only thing I do on Ethereum is I have wrapped Bitcoin and I put it into Aave and I borrow against it. But all the activity, all the value on Ethereum now is driven by RWA and stablecoins. So you really got to follow what the institutions are doing. So that's why I think the interest in Ethereum is going to lead much more heavily into RWAs than restaking or layer 2s. Okay, next is the stablecoin narrative. So very simple here, right? There are only a few stablecoins that matter. You can directly do this research yourself. Just go on CoinMarketCap, rank the top stablecoins by market cap ranks. And you see Tether, USDC, Ethena USDE, DAI from MakerDAO, which is now Sky Protocol, World Liberty USD1, First Digital. This is Binance. I believe they publicly own this company. If not, then it's a private partnership. So these are the ones that matter, right? And then you have PayPal, Ripple, whatever. These are not enough market cap to matter yet. So out of all of these, how do you gain exposure? Let's just start from the top. So Tether, I'm gonna bring up the two chains that Tether have currently backed. Let me bring that up. So even though Tether doesn't have any official governance token or public stock, there are two projects that they seem to be very friendly with. So these are the two. So you probably have heard of this, Plasma, their token XPL. This raised a crazy amount of money. And I'm like expecting launch valuation to be like 5 to 10 billion. There's no easy way to buy this right now, but just watch out for this, right? If it launches, I don't know how high, but try to buy the first dip after the launch. That's what I plan to do. I don't know how high it'll be, but this is the main chain that all of the team at Tether, at Bitfinex, they put a lot of money into this to try to build this chain that's specifically meant for Tether transactions, gas-free Tether transactions. And here's another one called Stable. In terms of how much money that Tether team has invested in this, it's a bit less, but still, it's heavily backed by Bitfinex and USDTO, which is the multi-chain provider for Tether. So these are the two main infra that Tether is backing. The reason why for this is, I believe, it's because they want to move away from Tron, from Tron's off-chain USDT dominance. So even yesterday, we covered this topic a little bit when covering stablecoins. So after the Genius Act was passed, which obviously Tether guys knew it was going to be passed, it impacts them a lot because Tether has a lot of offshore USDT supply. And all of this usually flows on the Tron network as a TRC20. This portion, the 79, 80 billion portion of USDT, is not very friendly to the US regulators' eyes. So Tether even came out recently and said that they're going to do a new version of Tether somehow that's fully regulated according to the Genius Act. And if they're gonna do this, they either do it on Ethereum mainnet or they do it on some other chain that's fully tracked, right? So I think it'll be a good. I think this is the narrative that they're trying to push with these chains that they're backing. Is they want to get the official blessing from the U.S. government, from the regulators. So that's why I have not put Tron on this list, because what happens next for U.S. stablecoins is they all have to comply with the Genius Act. If they don't, likely their market share is going to be eaten up by the ones that do. Especially within Tether itself, they will try to push the part of their supply that's offshore to the part that's onshore within the U.S. system. So that's why I'm not actually particularly bullish on Tron for stablecoins. Instead, I think these new chains are going to get a bigger push from Tether itself. Okay, that's Tether. Number 2, USDC. Very simple here. You don't have other choices other than Circle stock, right? If you're bullish on the growth of USDC and you want to buy a stock, buy Circle stock. Very straightforward. Ethena USDE, also very straightforward. They have their governance token. Straightforward, right? This token should do well if Ethereum does well. Not only because of the stablecoin narrative, but also because Ethena's yield is very native to the volatility of Ethereum itself. That's why it's called Ethena. I believe it's related in the brand of it. Because Ethena's yield for the USDE stablecoin comes from arbitrage between on-chain and off-chain centralized exchange funding rate arbitrage. So Ethena, pretty easy bet, even though its market cap, not the lowest, 3 billion, but their stablecoin is still growing at 6 billion market cap already. And then you have DAI, which has been actually dethroned by Ethena as the number 4 largest stablecoin now. So DAI is the OG decentralized stablecoin, and the governance token for it was Maker for the longest time. Now they have rebranded to be called Sky. Another good bet if you want a stablecoin bet. And I think MakerDAO and Sky will also benefit from clear regulation coming from the SEC for DeFi protocols. So if Uniswap, what's the other one? Curve, Compound, these coins do well, Sky probably will benefit from that as well. They came up around the same wave in DeFi summer. And then the fifth largest stablecoin, and honestly a dark horse is World Liberty, USD1. This is Trump family's official DeFi platform. It doesn't get weirder than that, but it is. The USD1 is called World Liberty Financial USD. And this is their official website. You can check everything it checks out right here. Even like the whole Trump family name is on here, if you can believe it or not. So yeah, and World Liberty plans to do their TGE in 6 to 8 weeks. This is from their official announcement. There's not much you can do right now. You can't really buy World Liberty. There are some pre-markets that's already going on Whales Market, but it's already pricing World Liberty at like $18 billion FDV. I don't know if that's high or low, because again, like the Trump meme coin went to 70 billion FDV. So maybe that's low, but I'll let you be the judge, because I can't really promise anything there when it's already 18 billion. But this is the official Trump family project. There is one project that I have covered a little bit, and I do have a bag of. It's called Blockstreet. These guys, the co-founder of Blockstreet is a core advisor to World Liberty. It used to be called Mixi, if you guys remember from my live stream last month. So these guys did a rebrand to be called Blockstreet, and they are now fully focused on this USD1 angle. And they are going to be launching different projects and helping projects go into the World Liberty USD1 ecosystem and to launch liquidity pools with USD1 backing. So this coin has been rallying every time that World Liberty has some hype, whether they announce that their TGE is soon or whatever, a new raise, right? Whatever it is, this coin has been catching on to that wave. So I have a bag of this as like a small beta play to World Liberty. Okay, finally, some other stablecoin / RWA plays you can tap into. So Aave, if it can load for me, yeah. So Aave is the strongest DeFi, legacy DeFi coin compared to Uniswap, MakerDAO, Compound, etc. I believe it's because they are closely tied to World Liberty. So the core World Liberty platform is a DeFi lending platform. It's actually an instance deployed onto BNB that's a fork of Aave. And they actually have a revenue share of 20% going into the Aave DAO and 7% of the World Liberty token supply going into the Aave DAO. So a lot of people have been just buying Aave directly whenever they're excited about the World Liberty announcements and their TGE. So this is something you can consider. Under the hood, Aave is still just a lending borrowing protocol. It has integrated all of the stablecoins out there, and they have their own stablecoin. But so far, it's not in the regulation. It's not fully cleared in terms of regulation yet of what defines these governance tokens. But if we get anything that's more friendly, probably it'll be Aave first, because the World Liberty token is sitting on top of as governance on top of their instance of Aave in the exact same approach as Aave's token to its own DeFi platform. So if the World Liberty token is going to be allowed to trade on all the US exchanges and the SEC is very friendly towards it, then by extension, it basically means the Aave DAO and their governance token is the same, with their actually a little bit of revenue share. So I think it's not there yet. The regulation hasn't been proposed anything in this front yet. But if they do, World Liberty will be first to get the green light, and then it'll be Aave. So I think Aave is pretty interesting, much more interesting than Uniswap, Maker, Compound, Curve, etc. And then last but not least, you have Pendle. This is one that taps both into RWA and stablecoins. One coin that everyone has been pretty excited about over this cycle. And this coin has just continued to run. So I don't have too much to say about it. Already at 1.2 billion FDV, but good beta play to both stablecoin and to RWA. But because it's a platform itself, it purely handles the yield tranching between the principal of your investment and the yield portion of your investment. It deals with stablecoins and it deals with RWAs. But it's not a platform specifically dedicated to one of those two things. That's why it's a little bit friendlier to classify. So this coin has been pretty strong this cycle. And if you want a solid bet that's not going to run much higher, but is quite friendly already, check out Pendle. Okay, with these... let me think. So I have a few ETH meme / alternatives that are not utility based. So I would put a couple more on here. I would put AVAX on here. So let's start off with the layer 2 alternatives. We have already covered how nobody uses these layer 2s. Nobody trades on Arbitrum, Optimism, zkSync, Starknet, Polygon. People do trade on 2 EVM chains today. You can go on Dex Screener and you'll see this right away. Base and AVAX. These are the 2 EVM chains people trade on. For Base, you don't have a coin. They're not going to do a governance token. You just buy Coinbase stock. So we'll leave it there, right? You can buy maybe Aerodrome if you want. You can buy some Base ecosystem coins, but they're all too small, in my opinion. Or Coinbase stock or Aerodrome, the main DEX. AVAX is the other place. You can buy AVAX. Honestly, I think it's still quite undervalued at this point. The good thing about AVAX is it's still very closely related to Solana. If you look at my videos from last year, whenever Solana makes a run, I immediately make that same video. Like, you got to buy AVAX after Solana pumps. And it has happened like 3 times now. Whenever Solana pumps, AVAX pumps shortly after that. So it's very simple to take a bet on AVAX. If you're bullish on ETH, because AVAX is EVM, all the native protocols that support Ethereum supports AVAX. On the other hand, somehow AVAX is also able to pitch themselves as this super scalable blockchain, just like Solana. So they actually have really good marketing for themselves. And recently, you guys know this project called Black Hole, which has been completely taking over AVAX. That's dedicated for a decentralized exchange dedicated for gaming, founded by my buddy Alio. And let me see if I can find it here, but I hear Black Hole. I have been farming on Black Hole, and it has been such a good time because not only has the Black Hole coin price gone up, right? I mean, just this has been pretty nice. And this is only like a week old. Not only has the coin been going up, but also the yield on there is pretty insane. So this is like DeFi summer levels of yield. I tweeted about this a bit, but I could not go fully in depth on this because I wanted to honestly just farm the yield for myself. But on the day of launch, I was farming wrapped AVAX and Black liquidity pool. This is not a concentrated liquidity. This is a V2 liquidity pool, just like on traditional Uniswap. So much lower in permanent loss. I was farming at 4,900% APR. And the day after that, that got diluted to 1,875% APR, which is still good. Today, I believe it's right around 1,000% APR after about 8 days, I want to say. If you check on here, you check on this, same pool is at 850% APR. So people have been saying, oh, look, the APR is going down. Like, haha, it's not doing well. Well, who cares? If you've ever farmed in DeFi, especially since DeFi summer, you know how this game is played. You know how much this translates to on the daily APR at launch? Just take this number, divide by 365. I was getting 10% yield within the first 24 hours on top of this coin going up in price. So I don't really have time to explain this to people. If you like think you're getting 4,000% over 1 year, you're completely mistaken. This number means 10% per day. That's what it means. And then in the first week, it was 3% per day. Now it's about 2%, 2.5% per day. But it's still going. So yeah, I'm very happy just to be farming Black. Not much to say about it. At this point, even if you don't want to buy Black Hole token itself, like just look at these concentrated stablecoin pools. You can farm AVAX itself for 140% APR, or Bitcoin for 250% APR, or the stablecoin at 830% APR. So yeah, I don't. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Like, don't farm. If you never farmed, don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm only talking about this now because I mean, I didn't want to share this yield, so I only tweeted about this a little bit. And you know, if it didn't farm then, like, you probably didn't understand it. Anyways, Black Hole completely dominating AVAX right now, and AVAX itself is still good value. So if you hold AVAX, I would park it on Black Hole to farm. This chain is definitely undervalued compared to all the other layer 2s, which nobody uses, compared to all the other EVMs, which are vaporware. AVAX is the only chain, one of two EVM chains that people use, the other being Base. Okay, and then I'm going to give you two ETH memes. These are, you have seen the first one, obviously, PEPE. The reason why I say this is a ETH meme is because it's, I want to say, one of maybe three memes only that have done well this cycle that's launched on Ethereum mainnet. There is PEPE, there is MOG, which is native as a ERC20 token. All other memes are native to Solana, right? Like Farcoin, Pengu, Whiff, Bonk, whatever, right? PEPE is the only one that launched much earlier than the Solana wave and still is doing well. So whenever ETH pumps, PEPE pumps. Very simple. If you want a meme coin that's like actually native to Ethereum, check out PEPE. And then finally, I put this in the meme tier, is Ethereum name service. Kind of funny, but I think this is the right way to think about what this coin is. It's a meme. Who uses ENS for utility or for DeFi, for anything else? Nobody. But it has Ethereum in the name. And its supply distribution is pretty good. Okay? Unlocked market cap, FDV, quite good. And even circulating 1 to 2.6 not bad. And this token serves no other purpose other than governance. So that's what's actually good about this coin. It's only tied to Ethereum narrative. It has Ethereum in the name. It's one of the longest running protocols that's for fun on Ethereum, giving you that like ENS name .eth. It's only meant for governance. So there is no like security sake whatsoever about it. And look at, if you just compare like past year, this chart right here is basically the exact same as the chart of Ethereum, just like slightly higher volatility. So that's what's very interesting about ENS. It's like a 1.5x leverage position on top of ETH. That is basically what ENS is as a meme. So that's why I put it in the ETH meme / alternative category. Okay, that's it. Yeah, we covered all the angles. We covered like super utility angle, and we covered alternative angle. We covered meme angle. Yeah, just in summary, there's so much noise on ETH. Don't think about the last cycle stuff about restaking or layer 2s. Legacy DeFi is okay. You just, if you want to hold Uniswap, Curve, Compound, Chainlink, they will come back at some point. But the main three narratives, the main three sectors right now are stablecoins with their governance stuff, RWAs with the huge interest coming from institutions, from BlackRock, from Jamie Dimon, etc. And you got to look at some crypto native alternatives that actually crypto Twitter is excited about compared to Ethereum. Whenever Ethereum pumps, people trade on AVAX, people trade on Base, people buy the PEPE coin, people buy ENS for just like beta. That's what if you Google and if you search on X Ethereum beta plate, you'll see ENS for whatever weird reason. So just that's kind of that's what narrative is. It starts on X. I want to take. So thank you guys for joining the live stream. Two things you should follow me on before I go. Number one, follow me on X. Follow me on X at VirtualBacon0x for quick alpha, for example, like farming black hole stuff. So follow me on there. I'll be making just the quickest posts. And check out our trading bots for Ethereum and other altcoins on Ponex with the first link in the description with the tutorial that will automatically help you DCA into a position according to the current support level, the lowest level that I want to be buying Ethereum. And then it'll help you take profit towards the very end, in this case, targeting 10,000. Okay, thank you guys for joining, and I will see you on the next video, next live stream. Bye-bye.